Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have Anthony. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Doing good.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, appreciate you joining the show.
Oh, man, you're welcome, man. Anytime, man.
Well, let's go all the way back. Tell everybody where you grew up.
I grew up in a small country town, Bryan, Texas. It's 100 miles north of Houston.
Tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly about growing up in Bryan, Texas.
Oh, man. I mean, in the 80s, man, we loved it. Man, everything was really cool. It's kind of like family oriented. Everybody was kind of, it was one of them type of areas to where, you can leave your door unlocked, the front porch open, you know what I'm saying? Leave your porch open, screen door open and things like that. It's a country lifestyle. You know what I mean? We go to grandparents' house on Sundays, Big Mama house and things like that, go eat up a bunch of stuff. You see a bunch of country land, farms and stuff. But, by the time the 90s hit, it's, the gang culture kind of hit, man, and just, drugs kicked in and all that stuff, and they took things by storm, and, things took a turn for the worse, and, poverty struck in, and, life began to happen all across the country.
What do you remember about that time from it going from a small town where you can leave your windows unlocked, screen doors unlocked, to becoming this gang-infested city?
Me personally, man, it's just, I remember somewhere around, the sixth grade, things being a little bit different. I want to say somewhere around 90, 91, things being a little bit different. I guess you could say it was, around that crack era type thing. People went from, you could leave your bike outside to your bike becoming stolen to, dope fiends stealing your screen, stealing your screens off your screen doors, taking your antennas and things like that. So, I definitely say drugs played a factor. And then when people started twisting up their fingers, picking up bandanas, man, that really caused a division in the community. I got friends myself that, I've been knowing since 85, 86. And, it was like when the gang culture kind of hit, it separated us, man. We were no longer friends. We couldn't tell each other why, but, the color kind of separated us,
Were these homegrown gangs, for lack of better words, or were they imports from L.A.? Who were some of the first gangs that you remember hearing about?
Back around my time, man, of course, you got your typical Bloods and Crips, mostly like neighborhood type things, like from our city, streets or neighborhoods, from where I'm from, things like that, not really, we kind of hear things, see things in movies. So you kind of, at a young teenage age, you kind of mimic things. You kind of want to be like those people that you see in those movies. So you kind of pick up things here and there. And then, a lot of people from the South kind of migrated to the Midwest or to the West Coast. So, a lot of people came back, and they came back with a lot of those gangs or organizations or influences. So, of course, they brought back, Bloods or Crips or, Kings for that nature. So, I guess in a way we kind of, had some influences just like everybody else.
Did colors or gangster rap have a big impact on your city in hindsight, looking back?
Yeah, man. It was definitely, man, a lot of, it had an impact on it. I definitely did. I mean, I kind of think that was the narrative that, a lot of the big record companies and movie companies, man, I think that was the narrative that they wanted to push, to be honest with you, just looking back at it. I mean, I ain't trying to shoot no shots at nobody or anything like that, but, it definitely, I remember a time to when we was listening to different types of music to where it taught us about unity.
Right.
It taught us about the culture being together, strengthening each other, things of that nature. We had I don't want to name any groups or anything like that, but, it's just, we had a lot of shows that, depict us in a different way, family life, we had good career jobs and things like that. But somewhere around 90, 91, all of a sudden, man, you just saw people with bandanas and stuff like that walking around. And, the music that we listened to, man, I definitely say it heavily influenced us.
Yeah, that's facts. What about movies like Colors and Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society? Do you remember, watching those movies and or hearing about those movies being any influence to people?
Yeah. I mean, those were some of the top movies, back then. I mean, those are classics. And, if anybody that grew up in the 90s that say that they didn't have an influence by those movies, man, they lying to you or they was put up in the house. I mean, because if you was outside with it, you definitely thought that you was one of those characters in those movies. Like, just being for real.
Yeah. Now let's talk about your life. When did you first, for lack of better words, when did you first jump off the porch and join the street life?
Oh man, shoot, like 91, 92. Yeah, somewhere around there. I was really young though.
Okay. Did you end up joining a gang?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I did. I got down for a little while.
Take us back to that time. What was going on, in what was going on in your life to where you're like, all right, I'm gonna make this jump. I'm doing this. I'm making this happen. I'm gonna join this gang.
Well, see, being honest with you, a lot of people, man, they have a misconception of, what they call gangs or whatever, or organizations, man. Back in the early 90s, things was more organized, man. You had like real OGs that, it wasn't like you was joining a gang, man. You was a part of a family, man. Like, it wasn't none of that. It was like the big homies, man. If you was a little homie that was supposed to be in school or something like that, they're gonna make sure you go to school. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't had nothing to eat, your mom, she might have had to work late or something like that. Man, we gonna make sure you eat. We gonna make sure you sleep on the couch and all that. It wasn't nothing like that. So, it was just like, for me, I'm my mama's only son. So, it was like I had a lot of older relatives that I looked up to. And, it was just being around in their neighborhood, where they at, it was kind of like, it was very unified. And, there was a lot of good brothers. They played football, played basketball, baseball. It was things of that nature. It wasn't like what people thinking, like hanging out on the corner and all that. No, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that at all. Not in the beginning.